Welcome to today's presentation. My name is Megan Francis. I am the Partner Marketing Manager over here at Updox. With 3 years of experience, I know a little bit about our product. I would say I know quite a bit about our product and how you can leverage technology, specifically Updox for Greenway, to really drive revenue back into your practice. So just a few housekeeping notes. We are recording today's presentation. If you do have questions throughout the presentation, your phone lines have been muted, so feel free to click into the right-hand panel, go to webinar panel. And if you look under the questions tab, you can go ahead and submit your questions there. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. So our presentation today will be discussing easy ways for your practice to improve the revenue coming into your practice through Updox and Greenway partnership. If you're utilizing Greenway right now, which most of you on here probably are, you have the opportunity to utilize their revenue cycle management system as well. Right there is half the battle when it comes to maximizing every single dollar coming into your practice. Implementing Updox with Greenway helps you ensure that you're optimizing the pre-visit and post-visit revenue generation as well. So really being strategic about how you're bringing that revenue into the practice, and then also utilizing your EMR to make sure that you're maximizing every single dollar afterwards. So leave billing and collections to Greenway, but then leverage Updox to improve existing and new revenue streams, specifically with a couple examples: new patient information, getting that before the appointment, getting that before check-in, allowing your staff to have back a couple minutes on their schedule to make sure that they're really giving the patient the best experience possible within the practice. Also getting insurance cards and billing information before the appointment. This is just going to show your patient that you respect their time as well as your staff time, just to ensure that everyone is maximizing the time spent during the check-in process. And then also secure communication. We'll go into a little bit of that more throughout the presentation. Obviously, your office is busy, your staff is super busy, your providers are overwhelmed. They're either seeing patients within appointments or they're working nights and weekends to do that non-clinical paperwork that is now required of them. Oftentimes, providers and their staff are forced to chart on the weekends as well. So after business hours, just to stay on top of the things that you have to get done, those mandatory regulated requirements of you. So that's a ton of paperwork, not to mention all of the things you're already having to tackle during the day. Updox collaboration platform can add just a bit of relief to your days, partnered with Greenway, with simple workflows to engage your patients easier, alert patients and colleagues to new services, create predictability with your practice schedule, and most importantly, free up time for patient care. Again, if you're familiar with Updox, as a lot of you probably are, we've oftentimes been called the communication or eFax service for Greenway customers. We do so much more for practices all over the United States. Truly, we are a single platform to do all of the things that you do on a regular basis. We're a collaboration platform to improve the communication you have with other providers, to improve care collaboration with pharmacies, to streamline that communication going out to payers, and then also improving the process that you already have, whether that be how you're managing your documents coming in and out of the office, how you're communicating, how you're organizing your address book. All of those things Updox can help you kind of streamline and alleviate some of the stresses associated with those. But on top of that, we offer an engagement platform that is truly really going out leaps and bounds when it comes to comparisons with other products. So we're going to really highlight the engagement platform today and walk through real life use cases for driving revenue into your practice. So I've heard this come about a lot from a lot of EMRs. Specifically, Greenway plus Updox partnership obviously is going to help you alleviate a lot of the administrative burdens, but also help you improve outcomes. And when there is no outcome with a patient, there is no income. Today, we're going to step through just a few scenarios that better enable your staff to communicate effortlessly with patients, to improve the outcomes of your patients while simultaneously driving provider connections and building patient loyalty. Now, it is important to understand that patient adherence obviously is a huge thing for you guys, and a lot of the tools that we're going to go over today help you improve patient adherence by connecting with your patients easier and in a more convenient method for them. But outside of that, and really coupled with patient adherence, is the need for patient loyalty. It's critical to remain financially viable at your practice. It's critical to have those loyal patients coming in every single year. If you don't have that, they're going to go out and find another provider. If you're not connecting with them in an impactful way, they're going to go find another doctor. If you're not providing them a certain level of convenience, whether that be through a patient portal, whether that be your website, or just the general ways they can connect with you and your staff and ask questions, if you're not providing convenience for them in this digital age, they're gone. You're going to lose them. So today we're going to go over simple ways that you can improve patient loyalty as well as drive that revenue. So be aware of these two symbols, as this is going to really drive a lot of the presentation. So if you're not setting the bar high enough for yourselves in terms of patient engagement, like I said before, you risk losing patients to other practices who are. So in the age of instant gratification through technology, you have to start supplying your patients with access to you and your staff at all times of day and in a convenient method. But how do you do that without expanding staff hours or putting more burden and more stress on you and your staff? Updox with Greenway can help. Obviously, your patients are on their phones. 97% of Americans use text messaging as one of their main means of communication. 90% of texts are read within the first 3 minutes of receipt. So wouldn't you want to utilize the same technology that other businesses, maybe not in healthcare, are getting away with on a daily basis? With Updox, you can actually do that now. Don't care how, I want it now. Like I said, in the age of instant gratification, your patients need ways to communicate with you that are easy, simple, secure, that you feel comfortable with, that your staff feels comfortable with, but most importantly, that your patient really connects with your staff with. Engagement truly drives revenue. So being able to engage with your patients in a convenient method is going to really be a big differentiator for you, your practice, and your staff. So the expectations obviously are super high for your practice. Your patients demand an easier way to communicate. How are you making sure you're connecting in their preferred method without bombarding your staff? A mobile way to manage care. Updox with Greenway Health provides an all-in-one collaboration hub, and we are going to be talking through exactly what that means for Greenway users. Specifically, we're a web-based platform. That means we are accessible anywhere with an internet connection. So if you want to log on, check your schedule, check the documents coming into your staff, by all means, you can do that at home if you'd like. Obviously, with physician and staff burnout, we would prefer that you stick to only when the office hours are available, but by all means, you have access to that. Today, we're going to talk through the Engagement Solution Suite, the automated appointment reminders, broadcast messaging, and secure text messaging now available for all Greenway users. Not only are we web-based and we streamline all of your communication, but every piece of our Engagement Solution Suite enables your staff to communicate through your patient's mobile device without hindering any workflows that you already have in place. So the following benefits come from engaging through Updox. Now to start off with, we're going to talk through our automated appointment reminders, just one of our simplest ways you can engage patients in a mobile way. Now, what exactly are the benefits of automated appointment reminders? If you've done your research, and I'm sure you have, Greenway Marketplace really boosts all of your options. Appointment reminders are known to decrease no-shows that are costly to your practice by up to 30%. But some of the key ways that Updox really helps your staff and your practice benefit, specifically through patient loyalty and revenue, the first one is reaching your patients in a way they prefer. Being able to communicate securely, being able to get in front of them in the way that they prefer really, is going to be the easiest way to drive patient loyalty, but also drive that revenue. So decreasing those no-show costs, ensuring that your patients are showing up, creating a more predictable schedule, all of those ways are going to improve your practice flow. Generated revenue by freeing up staff time making reminders calls. If your staff are on the phone and busy trying to reach patients, The statistic says it's up to 3 tries it takes to get a patient on the phone and get them confirmed for an appointment. If that's what your staff is spending their time doing, they can't be as efficient and as productive in other places of your practice and your business that they could be spending their time doing. Because they are hindered by this kind of cumbersome manual process, they aren't allowed to get in front of the patients the way they should be. They aren't really allowed or even able to get done with their tedious tasks of the day, whether that be paperwork, whether that be tracking down provider signatures, whether that be just that face time spent with your patients and all the other manual tasks on their to-do list. This is going to free up your staff time, really ensure that you don't have to add extra staff, keeping the staff that you already have happy, and consistently keeping your revenue stable. Another one is reduction in costly no-shows, which we went over. Obviously, automated appointment reminders are one big way. As they run in the background, you don't really have to change them up. Once Updox has set you up with appointment reminders, it should be pretty touch and go from there, as long as you have your preferences set up respectively to your patients and also the appointment types that you have. There should be no problem really driving that revenue home. And then kind of a twofer, the automation. It quietly runs in the background of your workday, creating patient loyalty by touching them in a way that they want to be communicated with, and then also improving your staff time, reducing that time spent on those manual tasks, and the automation, allowing your staff to free up time that they could be better spent doing other things for your business. This is just a quick screen grab of what exactly our appointment reminders look like. When you get set up with Updox, you're actually able to do free training and free support. And with this, you get a one-time setup of our appointment reminders where you can walk through exactly how you want them set up, which methods of delivery. Your options include phone call, email, or text message, and then also the time frames you want to set up. And if you want to block out certain times, so if you don't want to reach out to your patients on the weekends, no big deal. You can totally block that off. If you also don't want to call them or alert them to appointments at 7 a.m. or 9 p.m., you can block that off as well, making it very, very easy for you and your staff. The next solution we're going to talk through is our broadcast messaging. This is an easy way for you to tailor and segment lists of patients, lists of providers, lists of contacts already living in your address book through Greenway. This is an easy way to target certain lists based on the communication you would like to deliver. Again, reaching out to patients in a way that they prefer. So we respect all of your patient preferences as well as your colleagues' preferences. If you have them in your address book and you don't have a cell phone number, we probably wouldn't drive them home with a text message. So we would try the call or the email. We'll go into broadcast messaging and exactly how that can drive revenue into your practice and how other providers are already being successful using it. When we first introduced this tool, we had an understanding that it would be used one way, but the great thing about Updox is our providers and our practices truly customize the workflow that they see fits best in their practice. So they use the tool how they want. So we've seen it being used for a lot of other ways that we never even thought about when we first introduced it. So we're going to discuss some real life use cases and also just some simple ways that you can generate that revenue with this. The key benefits with broadcast messaging. First, you can alert patients of upcoming clinics to access new treatment options. So education and information is power, especially for your patients and improving the outcomes that they have. Specifically with broadcast messaging, we've seen providers and practices using this to alert patients of flu clinics. Or we had a pediatric practice utilize it to talk about the upcoming HPV vaccine and ensure that all of his staff was armed with the information to give out to patients and their parents, but also alert those parents ahead of time so that when they came into the practice, they were making a more informed decision. So that really spiked or increased the volume of vaccines he was giving because a lot of these patients and their parents were already informed, already educated on what exactly that meant for them. Notifying existing and new referral sources of services offered at your practice to remain front of mind. So with the address book in Updox, whether you are putting colleagues and referral sources in your Greenway address book or not, you can always add them into the Updox address book. And that's accessed with broadcast messaging as well. So if you wanted to build a list of all of your referral contacts, if you wanted to look up new referral contacts in our directory, which you absolutely can, and then pull those contacts into a list for broadcast, by all means, do that. We've seen a lot of practices being very, very successful in staying front of mind with their connections outside of the practice with broadcast messaging, whether that be wishing them a happy birthday or offering new services to them, or just alerting them to the fact that your practice might be closed or you are opening a new practice. All of these messages can be customized and tailored by you and your staff, dependent on the recipient. So again, you can customize and use this tool as you see fit. And then messaging groups of at-risk patients to educate and keep them adherent. We've seen a lot of practices using this as pre-visit strategy to make sure that their at-risk patients are getting alerted to either educational seminars that you're having or just making sure that they're aware of certain risk factors. Specifically, a use case we saw one of our practices use it for was diabetic screenings. So first of all, they sent out a broadcast message to any and all of their patients that may or may not be at risk for diabetes. After that, they sent out an alert that they were doing diabetic screenings. So it's just a really cool tool to make sure that your patients are staying educated, building up that patient loyalty to know that their practice is truly thinking of them, whether they're in the practice or not, and then also driving them in to increase that revenue coming into your practice. Again, just a quick screen of exactly what broadcast looks like. So similarly to setting up an email or a secure text, or the same way you would go into your Gmail or your Outlook every single day, you would hit the compose screen within the blast configuration. And then right here, you can see you can either use a template that we've created or build out your own templates. Depending on what type of messages you're sending, we have a lot of general templates that you can work from, or again, customize your own. And then from there, you pick the list that you wish to segment to, and then send out from there. We also have those personalization tokens. So if you wanted to include the patient's name, if you wanted to include the practice name, you have the ability to do that as well. Again, very, very convenient for you and your patients. Not working outside of your staff workflow. If for some reason your staff needed to get in touch or try to send educational information to a series of 100 patients, how are they doing that now? If your staff needed to alert your whole patient database as well as all of your staff and colleagues that your practice was going to be closed for the polar vortex, how exactly are they doing that right now? Do you have an easy way to communicate that to them? Or is it going to be a manual call over and over? This is just one easy way that you can use Blast and broadcast, and we call it Blast as well, broadcast to really alert your patients, colleagues, and staff members to any sort of notification that you do on the fly. Again, this is just an easy way for your patients to either get a communication from you or learn a little bit more about what you need to keep them adherent and to keep them informed. The last solution we're going to talk about is secure text messaging with Updox. So we've seen a lot of messaging around the marketplace about some secure text options. With Updox, just one key benefit that I will hone in on is if you're already utilizing Updox for our communication platform or the fax portion, this is going to be a really, really sweet tool to add on. It's going to be directly in the inbox you're already working from. You're never going to have to leave the workflow you're already in, and adding on some of these other awesome tools. Yes, they're great, but we're doing the same thing only within the same workflow that you have. So just really wanted to hit home on that. Some of the main benefits for secure text messaging, if you haven't already researched this a little bit, We're seeing a lot of practices using this to retrieve billing and insurance info before the visit to free up staff time during intake. And I think I touched on this at the beginning of the presentation. This just really shows a level of respect for your patients and also your staff members to improve that satisfaction for both of them, because it creates an ease of use and then also frees up that manual time that they spent checking a patient in. If they've already got your billing and insurance information and they've already got it added to your chart, they've got it in your billing system, you should be good to go, really creating an ease of that process that usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you might be waiting for the provider a little bit longer. So just letting your patients know, we respect your time, send it to us early, and we will try to streamline this process as much as we can. And then reducing staff time spent playing phone tag with patients. Again, it takes up to 3 tries to get in touch with a patient. If you need to alert patients to results being in, or if you need to let them know that you wanted to have a discussion about their care plan, you can do that, but you can alert them in an easier way and share that information in an easier way without having to play that pesky phone tag that so often we do. If you are like me, I normally don't answer a phone number that I don't know. So if they don't have your practice number saved, this is going to be a really easy way to get right in front of them and easily access a response from them. Sharing results and care plan management to ensure adherence, really boosting that patient loyalty and the adherence to your care plan by communicating directly in the way that they prefer. If you have your phone out in front of you right now, as I'm sure many of you do, if your doctor were to securely text you, you would be able to get results on this webinar. How easy is that to really think about? It's huge. It's huge for your workflow, and it's huge for your patients. Offering peace of mind to patients with a more convenient method of communication. Allowing your patients to simply communicate with you and your staff over the phone, I cannot stress this enough. That is going to be a huge benefit for you. Everyone is texting. Again, 97% of Americans use secure text or text messaging, not secure, as their main way of communicating on an everyday basis. So just really utilizing that statistic and knowing that this is the way healthcare is shifting, and being on board with that and kind of being ahead of the curve is really going to help your practice in the long run. And then providing 24-hour access to the practice by allowing patients to message you first. This might sound a little bit terrifying, especially if you have those handful of patients that have a lot of questions and need a little bit more management for their care. Updox is now allowing your patients, if you'd like, this is totally based on practice preference, you can send out a message letting them know that they have 24 hours to respond to you and they can start the message. You don't have to initiate it, they can. So if you have a lot of patients that you think might not necessarily be wanting to book an appointment, but you know need a little bit extra care, you can provide that access to them. And again, simple screens, just like you would an email in your Outlook or your Gmail account. You hit the compose screen, it pulls this up. You do have the ability to choose a secure or unsecure text message. So if you simply wanted to alert them of something that's not as sensitive as PHI, you totally could through text message, but we also allow you to send a secure message as well. You can add attachments, so if you wanted to share results with images, you definitely can. And again, just hitting your patients exactly where they are on their phones, making it convenient and comfortable for them in a secure way. Again, secure text messaging sounds a little bit scary because a lot of times people are unaware of exactly how that works. For HIPAA, for it to be secure, it has to be a 2-step verification process. With Updox, the first step is that you have their phone number. So if you are texting a patient, it's because they have provided that information to you. And then from there, they're prompted to a screen where they have to verify their birth date. So 2-step verification process, and then it takes them to a secure platform where they can read the message from you and also respond. And the really cool thing about the partnership with Greenway is that Updox secure text messages, those threaded conversations, are now easily put into the patient's chart. So the same way you add files to the chart, the same way you document things, the same way you task providers, you can do all of that within Updox directly into your Greenway platform. Just a quick quote from one of the pediatricians who's actually one of our biggest advocates for engagement. He wanted a simple way to get in front of his patients, and he found that with Updox. He doesn't even, when they switched over to appointment reminders, his staff wasn't even aware because it was such a seamless transition for them. And he's been able to really utilize the secure text and broadcast features to get in front of his patients, get them into the practice, and increase that revenue coming in. And a quick wrap up, Updox is multiple solutions in one platform. So really all-in-one collaboration platform, providing you engagement products, productivity products, and communication products to streamline the administrative day. We help you streamline the manual process, empower your patients in their care, really increasing adherence and driving revenue, and then driving provider relationships as well. I'll now open it up for questions. Again, if we don't get any questions, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I know your days are often chaotic, and getting away for even a lunch break or a quick webinar is hard sometimes. So we really, really do appreciate your time.